Hello and welcome to the Daily Space for today, Friday. It's Friday today. Let me try that again. Hello and welcome to the Daily Space for today, Friday, January 17th, 2020. I'm your host, Dr. Pamela Gay, and I am here to put science in your brain. Sometimes we as scientists forget to think of Earth when we think of planets. At NASA, they actually divide things up into helioscience, earth science, planetary science, and astrophysics. The entire rest of the universe gets one category. This is as if to say our sun isn't a star and the Earth isn't a planet. Now, historically, these divisions made sense and were based on how differently we could study our Earth compared with other worlds and how much more information we can get about our sun compared to other stars. Over the decades, though, things have changed, and how we understand our universe has evolved. These four categories don't necessarily still make sense and make it hard for us to know where to put a study of exoplanets or how to file papers comparing Earth and Mars terrains using rovers and people in the field. In general, we need a new classification system. But change is slow, and how we talk about science is one of the slowest things to change. 2020 marks the 25th anniversary of the discovery of planets orbiting other stars than the sun. In the past few years, we've started finding planets with masses not too different from Earth's mass, and it seems that every few weeks there is a new announcement about a new world in some star's habitable zone. This week is one of those weeks. In a new paper in the Astrophysical Journal, supplemental things, sorry, I'm still having trouble switching scenes. In a new paper this week in the Astrophysical Journal supplement series, a team of researchers led by Carnegie's Fabo Feng and Paul Butler announced the discovery of two super-Earths with masses just 7.5 and 7.9 times the mass of the Earth. These two planets orbit different red dwarf stars and may be positioned such that they can have liquid water on their surface. But as a reminder, red dwarfs are evil, and planets in the habitable zone of red dwarfs are generally tidally locked. So any life that is on these worlds lives in an environment that is really hard for us to imagine. These planets, along with 3 other confirmed planets and 8 candidate worlds, expand our catalog of more than 4,000 planets in a not entirely noticeable way. At this point, I'm not sure the discovery of a new world around yet another red dwarf star is still news, or just astronomy as usual. I'm seeing a bias in how we select stories for the news, how we select stories to create press releases, where those of us who are working as journalists and working as the people who write press releases are often old enough to have grown up without exoplanets. So we're still like, oh, cool, planet. They're still shiny. But at some point, we probably need to admit stars generally have planets. Planets regularly exist in habitable zones. And as long as we keep looking for planets, we're going to keep finding planets. At this point, I think that unless something truly novel is discovered, we're going to have to stop calling new planets news. If it is a particularly slow news day, we may do a roundup of newly discovered worlds. But really, how many worlds do we have to find before we start creating a new press release for every planet? Now, if I sound like a curmudgeon, it may be because it's a stormy Friday with unrelenting cloud and cold and ice pellets falling from the sky. Weather and light both affect mood, and I have to admit, while I'm grouchy, I really can't complain. There are places in Australia and New Zealand where the sky is red with ash. For those of you farther away with clear skies, you may have noticed that the sunsets recently have been truly spectacular with deeper reds than we're used to. What you're seeing is an effect called Rayleigh scattering. This is the same effect that makes the sky blue. As light passes through any material, whether it be a gas nebula or our atmosphere or just a cloudy fish tank, that light passing through the material has two options. It can head straight through or it can be scattered. And my iPad with the script just turned off. Or the light can be scattered, and as it becomes scattered, you get blue to the side and red straight through. This is why when we look at nebula in the sky, when we see a cloud of gas that is backlit from behind, it appears red. But if we see a cloud of gas that is lit by a star off to the side, we see that gas is blue. We see what's called a reflection nebula. This is the same reason that when you refill a fish tank and you stir up cloudy stuff in the water, that tank lit from above will appear slightly blue as you look at it from the front. This is an issue of probabilities. While any given photon has the chance to either pass straight through material or get reflected and scattered away, it turns out that there's a significantly higher probability of that blue light getting scattered. In our atmosphere, sunlight coming through, the blue gets scattered in all directions and then it gets rescattered back down toward us, allowing us to see a blue sky. Now, the thicker the material, the more colors of light get scattered, until eventually, if that material is thick enough, the sky is no longer blue. And as they're seeing in Australia and New Zealand, the sky turns to orange and red. Now, I've been seeing some reports out on Twitter of people thinking that the color of the sky that they're seeing during the day is due strictly to firelight reflecting off the clouds, much as at night, if you live in a city, clouds in the sky will appear this orangey color from sodium lamplight reflecting off the clouds. Well, at night, that may still be the case, but during the day, you're seeing sunlight getting scattered. You're seeing Rayleigh scattering. Now, one of the other questions that I've been seeing a lot is the question of, are all of these fires as well as the eruption of the Tael Volcano, and here is a photo of those fires. Sorry, I also have a menu showing up. Menu, go away. Here is a photo of those fires. I'm sorry for the background color on this. Let me fix that. There. So here's a picture of those fires and that scattered light that I'm talking about, that Rayleigh scattering that's taking place. Now, one of the other questions that I've been getting is, will all of this smoke that we are now actually able to see in satellite images, will this, as it expands and spreads out around the globe, creating these amazing red sunsets, will it also have the effect of scattering enough light away that it can counteract climate change, counteract the global warming we're currently experiencing? And this is a complicated question to answer. On one side, yes, in the very short term, we will potentially see a slight dip in global temperatures. Now, global temperatures are not the same thing as your local temperatures. When you hear on the news it's warmer in Atlanta right now than it has ever been before, that means there's somewhere else on the planet that's colder than it's ever been before. Here we're looking at the average temperature of the entire world, fluctuating an amount that we probably can't even feel as human beings. And that slight dip that we've seen before with volcanic eruptions could occur. But once all the particulate matter, once all of that ash and soot from the fires and the Tael Volcano eruption in the Philippines, once that matter falls out of the atmosphere, we still have way too much greenhouse gas in our atmosphere, and that's not going to change. And we're still producing way too much greenhouse gases and pumping them into the atmosphere, and that isn't going to change. So while we may see short-term improvements in temperature with, problems with breathing associated with them, and breathing's kind of a good thing, This isn't a long-term solution. Burning the world's fires will not combat climate change. And when this is all over, we're actually going to have fewer forests to suck in that gas from the atmosphere. So this is a really bad time to be someone who understands climate change. I'm sorry if you didn't want to understand it more than you might have before. I actually some days really wish I didn't understand climate change. But this is where we are. This is the world we live in. So, yeah, we need to figure out how to do better. Not just as individuals. Individually, we can make very little difference. Keep doing what you're doing. But we need to figure out how to change our world. Before our world, well, keeps going in the direction it's trying to change on its own, it makes it impossible for us. Okay, that's all I've got. It's an ugly news day. It's an ugly day outside. It's just an ugly day, but it's Friday. And tomorrow we have at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central, 6 a.m. Mountain, and 5 a.m. Pacific, the start of the launch window for the SpaceX Crew Dragon abort test. Our own Paranor is going to be streaming this. I will be in the chat. And we're going to be here to let you see a rocket purposefully go boom a little over a minute after launch. Folks have asked if they're purposefully destroying the launch. Is there a reason to wait until a minute and a half? Is there a reason to not wait longer? And they're working on figuring out how the rocket behaves when it goes boom at that impossible altitude that isn't high enough for them to abort once around the planet, and high enough up that, well, they can use parachutes and stuff to come down in a reasonable way. Now, aborts can take place lower down, but if you look at the timing of how long after launch this abort test occurs, and look back at the Challenger disaster, you may see some familiarities on the clock. So here's to hoping that this no humans involved, one destroyed rocket, Crew Dragon capsule test brings us back a capsule nice and safe with whatever on board they're going to put on board. And because it's SpaceX, you know it's going to be interesting. So I will now take your questions, and I hope to see you right here tomorrow in the chat while Paranor streams. All right, I will take your questions, but before I do that, let me remind you, The Daily Space is a production of the Planetary Science Institute, a 501c3 dedicated to exploring our solar system and beyond. We were produced by Susie Murph, and we are sustained by you. We are made possible through your generous donations. Every bit, sub, and, well, pledge over on Patreon really helps us out. If you want to know the best way to support us, well, patreon.com/CosmoQuestX is the best thing you can do. So thank you very much, and I will now take your questions. I'm going to scroll through them locally, but let's throw the chat up on the screen. Scrolling up to the top. Hello, Blade Runner. Hello, Mike Cassidy. Hello, Larry Weird. I'm sorry, the audio is clipping. I need to work on that. Thank you, Wayne Johnson and Alan MD, for the bits. You made my puppies very, very happy. Hello, Bad Panda Bear. Hello, Guido. Hello, Susie Murph. Hello, Ironheart. Hello, Trekker Kev. Hello, Broken Symmetry. Hello, Kevlar. Scrolling. Hello, Gluten-Free Space. I have a new coffee cup. I just want to share this because I'm about to drink coffee. I think you can see it's covered in really cool planets. This comes from Retroramics on Etsy and is made by Amy Davis Roth, who is a friend of CosmoQuest. Ooh, there are bits. I have excited dogs. Thank you, Kevlar. I'm about to get mugged on 3 sides. Okay, one for you. One for you. One for you. Okay, coming up on camera. This is Eddie. Stella and Malachi don't know how to come up on camera. All right, so awesome mug that I just wanted to share while I scroll. I'm sorry that you heard a wonky noise, Larry. Yeah, I'm not always good at making slides. I'm sorry. And Susie created today's slides. I just forgot to switch them. Ari asks, super Earths or hot Neptunes? So the thinking here is the orbit that the two planets that we talked about are in means that, and here I'll switch back to the graphic. This weekend I will be putting my studio back together after travel and getting my Stream Deck set back up. So the thinking is that the orbit these two worlds are in are such that gas giants couldn't have existed there, or ice giants like Neptune, because the material would have been strewn away. And they're a size that is consistent with an Earth. So these are considered at 7.5 Earth mass and 7.9 Earth mass to be super Earths. Now, there is a lot of quibbling. When do you call something a small Neptune? When do you call something a super Earth? Ultimately, it comes down to a what is the density of the object question, and that's still something we're still figuring out how to accurately measure for all objects. But where we can, we do, and we get a classification out of this system. All right, let's see what else is in the chat. I've lost my mouse. There it is. I'm having a Monday on Friday. Guido's like, good way to make us feel old. Hey, I was born when exoplanets were still science fiction. So was I. So was I. Time for the shadow puppets and arm waving. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So Guido is like, no actual good news today. No, there is no actual good news today. Wait, did you guys not see the slides at all? Did I like put it up on theater mode and then not put it where you could see it? So here is the red sky I was talking about. And then the satellite image of smoke and clouds. No actual good news. Wayne, you're lucky that it is beer time. I'm thinking today for me, beer time may come early. Because I can clean and do beer at once. Kevlar points out, Friday, vertical and breathing is a great way to start the weekend. Have a good one. Yeah, that's valid. That is valid. Gluten-free space is like, this cup of coffee holds 10 gallons of coffee. So here it is next to my face for accurate size comparison. I'm not going to lie. I had her custom make this to hold 20 ounces of coffee. Now, I can increase it in size by putting it next to the camera. I love this coffee cup. All right, let's see what else is here in the chat. So Larry asks, is soot from the Oz fire going to cross the equator? Yeah, it'll eventually spread. Not necessarily in a smooth layer throughout the atmosphere, but it will spread. They're already seeing it affecting them, affecting the skies in Chile as it wraps around that way, and then it will diffuse in all directions. Magnus Thema says, I just received my prize package from the Hangout-a-thon. I'm so glad. I think we have all but maybe 2 or 3 sent out, and those were due to simply a mix-up in getting things out the door to Susie Murph. So I need to get a box to her, and then she's going to be sending a set of stuff out. Limp Rimble is like, you should set up a 24/7 doggy cam with an automated bits treats machine. I really want to figure out how to do that. It may not be 24/7 because I like my dogs. I'm actually, let me see if it's on dog camera. Stella is currently absolutely adorable in the dog bed. Trying to figure out if I can pull that up. Nah, she's just off camera. I will take a photo to share. But yeah, the issue is that if we had a treat dispenser that regularly just popped tweets out, not tweets, popped bits out, the three dogs would worship it like an idol and never get any exercise. So I need to build something that will automatically distribute tweets, not tweets. Why am I determined to say tweets today? Automatically distribute treats in exchange for bits. I'm just not there yet. Larry says, I read once the Neptune might have huge mountain of diamond. Hear about this. So mountain may be the wrong phrase, but there is quite likely a layer in which there are diamonds within Neptune. Now, the reason I say mountains aren't necessarily likely is at this gravitational level, having something like a mountain gets harder to create, but that doesn't mean the universe hasn't figured out how to do stuff that we haven't figured out how to do in our computer models. So Mike Cassidy is asking, when can I start mapping moon craters again? So we're in the process of writing new code. It's going to go up in 3 stages, and I'm going to send a newsletter out about it this weekend. The first stage, which I'm hoping to put live this weekend, is one that will allow you to log in, update your publishable name, and it's going to start to include some new consent documents. One of the things that we realized we weren't doing really well was forcing people to understand that their data is getting used. We've had a few people that came to CosmoQuest and mapped craters just thinking it was the most boring video game they had ever encountered, or that it was educational software. And it makes me feel kind of dirty to think we might be using for science data that people didn't realize they were contributing to science, because, let's face it, people don't read terms and conditions. So we're trying to figure out how to make our website more in your face about how we use the information that you put into the site. So the first thing I need is going to be publishable names from the OSIRIS-REx people. Next thing that I'm going to do is get galleries up so that people can see what they've accomplished. And then we're going to be getting the science stuff up third. Once we have a solid in-your-face privacy, this is how we use your data. I'm sorry to slow down your ability to do science. We just want to make sure that we already do everything we can to use data responsibly to protect people's privacy and things like that. We also want to make sure that people know what they're doing when they submit data to our site. So right now I'm putting doing what's right ahead of doing optimal science. So once I know we're doing what's right, you'll have your ability to do science again. Okay, so Bad Pen is saying, I've seen 24-hour treat dispensers for chickens. Huh. Can you toss me a link? I'll also do some Googling. This is in quote, how do you fit the chickens in the dispenser? Okay. Yeah. I love you guys. So Larry asks, are we going to map glaciers? Yes, that is the eventual plan. So as you all know, we are currently living off of donations. This is a small, sad world. We did just yesterday get a tiny award letter for a tiny project to do software for observing asteroids and meteors. But that's not related to our mapping software. That grant is still pending. And so basically I'm volunteering my time to write citizen science software for you guys right now. And it slows things down. So as we go, we are going to put live a glaciers project, but it takes time. Now, next week, I am hoping to get back to coding on stream. This week has been a hairy mess. I've had some personal stuff to deal with in the background that if you've been following my Twitter, you know my adventures of the week. Next week, I'm hoping to get back to streaming to coding on stream and inviting all of you to join me. And as always, if you check out the CosmoQuest team/CSB7 repo on GitHub, you're welcome to help me code this stuff, and we can work together to get things done faster. Okay, are there any more questions? I'm going to sip my coffee while I look. I'm going to see if I can just show you the picture I just took of Stella, because she is super cute right now. No idea how well this will work. So this is Stella right now. So Paranor is asking, how are you doing today? I haven't stabbed anyone. Yeah, I think that's sometimes the answer. My husband is getting a cold, and if you just heard me sniffle, I'm worried I'm also getting a cold, but I'm currently in the it's just allergies stage of denial. Stella is truly adorable. Yeah, she's truly adorable. She keeps me sane. So do the other two. Oh my God, the other two are so adorable as well right now. I need to get a movable dog cam. So Eddie and Malachi are currently cuddling. So this is Eddie and Malachi. And I just got a ton of messages. So yeah, it's good here. Someone rang your doorbell at 1:30 a.m.? Oh, that's just wrong. That's just wrong. All right. So I am going to go record the podcast version of this episode. I'm going to set my iPad on a charger, and I am going to make some lunch. And then I'll be hanging out online, so you can find me on Discord. So let's see what we can do about rolling these credits. Is that the correct screen? No. Is that the correct screen? Yes. Sometimes you click on things and the software is just like, no, you can't. I won't let you. There we go. All right. Stay safe, everyone. Stay warm if you're someplace cold. Keep your lungs clear and use a face mask if you're somewhere filled with ash and smoke. And take care of each other. Go into the world with a partner. It works better in both video games and reality. So have a great day, morning, evening, or afternoon, wherever you may be in the world. Bye-bye.